Didn't win the million last night. A little disappointed in myself. I had a 1v1 I could have done, and I just chose Reeves over D'Angelo Russell, and otherwise I would have come in I think fourth and won like 75,000. But instead I just min cashed. But the min cashes on those 2,500s they're valuable. But it would have been nice to have a better birthday. Can't lie, but ready to get back after today. Sheets, how did you do? And what do you think of this slate?
Yeah, so I had a couple of things to talk about. First of all, I did not cash. I was going to, except that the Rockets decided to give up with 6 minutes to go,
Yeah.
down 13, and didn't put Sengun or Holiday in for the rest of the game. So I mean, listen, like I said, whenever you have like these back-to-backs in Denver, it's there's definitely quite a bit of risk involved there, to say the least. But that's my own deal. But one good thing that happened from the from the live sweat is, now I forget the guy's name again, but one of the subscribers or whatever, he took down the he took down the showdown, which was like really, really cool. So good for him.
Yeah, nice. All right, man. Well, since you're on a little bit of a time crunch, you want to jump into these games?
Yeah, just 1 second. I'm just trying to figure out how to do something real quick.
Okay.
Here, and then hold on a minute. I had it before, so I want to click on this, and then I don't want to click on that. I wanted to do. Oh, I want to do YouTube Studio, I think. 1 second. YouTube Studio, and then content, was it? Yeah, hold on. It's been live, and then click, and then customization. Only people that are subscribers for 20 minutes can send messages. Okay, so that should be good. All right, let me share my screen, and we will get going. All right, so it's a pretty, I guess, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it's a full slate, man. I did a projection run, and wait, where are you? Did you disappear? Where'd you go? I think you disappeared. I guess we'll wait for you. I guess let's wait for Bobby to come back. Oh, his internet went out. We got it done, Neil. Okay, I'm gonna wait for Bobby to come back for that. But I do only have about 45 minutes, so maybe I will just at least give a quick preview for when Bobby gets back. Oh, there he is. Okay.
Sorry, out of the blue, my internet just went out all of a sudden, and now it's back. So sorry about that.
Okay, so that, by the way, this is the guy that's in the chat, Neil. He was the one. You like that? Look at that.
Awesome, Neil. That's great to hear, man.
Yeah.
Glad you won it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I guess Portland, Cleveland is the first one. I mean, it's weird. I'm getting like all kinds of value from like 1 or 2 teams today. We'll talk about, I guess, why that is as I get there. But Portland or Cleveland is not one of them. Like, I have Jared Allen as like my top guy from this game, and it's probably nothing. It's probably a pretty big spread as well. So I probably am passing on this game completely.
Yeah, most likely I'll end up passing on it as well. I think that everybody like you could certainly make a case for Garland and for Mobley especially. Boy, I wish I would have stuck with my Mitchell take the other night. He was pretty damn good. I actually used him a little bit, but not enough. I wouldn't quite get to anything on Portland. So yeah, pretty much an uninteresting game. But I do think that all the Cleveland pieces are totally in play. Just I think there's better spots to attack. All right, Charlotte, Brooklyn.
Charlotte, Brooklyn, you have Bridges versus Bridges. That means anything to you? Doesn't mean much to me, nor does much anything else in this game. I got. I guess I will note that that Cam Thomas is back. So at the very least, we could take stuff away from the other guys, or we could just get right back on the train and playing him if you believe that he's going to come back with full minutes. I mean, he just always has like 50 real life point upside.
Yep.
But aside from that, I really don't have too much in this game either. I mean, Miles Bridges 8K, I guess is all right. Terry Rozier, I guess is okay. But this is another pretty uninspiring game for me.
Yeah, I actually like the Charlotte side over here. I like Rozier. Probably a little expensive for Williams, but not the worst idea. I think that Rozier, Bridges, Hayward, and Miller are all totally in play for me. And Miller's questionable. If he's out, maybe give a boost up to Hayward and Bridges. But Rozier and Bridges especially, I like. And with Cam Thomas back, it's a little harder to get things on the other side. My initial plan was, before we knew about Thomas for sure, especially with Dennis Smith being questionable again, I wanted just to run right back with Dinwiddie and play Rozier alongside of him. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that with Cam Thomas being back. So, but I think I have a little bit more interest in that game, maybe just because I think it could be a good pace, and we have no LaMelo, which is going to tick up to somebody at some point. Detroit, New York. Is that what you got?
Yeah, Detroit, New York, and hate to be like the Grinch that stole Christmas here, but no, I do have something. No. I have Mitch Robb. Oh, wait a minute. So is there injury issues with Detroit? No. Yeah, so I guess it's just another day of maybe playing Mitch Robb at 5,400. Aside from that, not too much out of this game either.
I think Mitch Robb and Barrett are both reasonable. I was a little bit irritated the other night with Barrett because he was in my best lineup and he didn't. The other starters played the minutes down the stretch, but he didn't, which was a little tilting because he like 5 or 6 more points would have been very beneficial. Yeah, I think Mitch Robb and Barrett are the natural first two, but I do think that both Brunson and Randall, like just guys I'm going to consider later in the day. I actually think the best play might be Quickly, because I think that there's upside for him both in a blowout setting and not. And Detroit just gets blown out like every night, it feels like. So a guy like Quickly could actually be pretty good tonight. So I have just guys on my radar, but nobody who's a must play or anything like that. Jaden Ivey is fine, by the way, for me with Detroit. All right, next up, Indiana, Miami.
This is like a weird game, like you have Miami, who's usually known for playing really slow, against a team that just doesn't allow it, doesn't allow a team to play pretty slow. But the big news is that Jalen Smith is out. So you have Isaiah Jackson, who is probably going to be, I'm not seeing that as far as my projection goes.
I don't think he would be much.
You don't think?
I mean, what's the big thing that's out? Neesmith was out the previous 4 games. Toppin was out before that. So really nobody's out, actually. You know what I mean? They aren't missing any more bodies than they were. It just happens to be a different body in Jalen Smith. And
but Isaiah Jackson goes in for that, right?
He just plays backup center, basically. So he'll play the minutes that Turner doesn't play. They played a few minutes with him and Smith together, but not many. And we had Miles Turner even out earlier this year, and Isaiah Jackson hasn't played more than 18 minutes in the game yet.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I guess that's why. I'm not really seeing any of these guys project well. I thought I would for some reason. And Isaiah Jackson's questionable himself.
Right. Then there might be something we could do.
And maybe we play Obi or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's probably the right idea. And I think it's a boost for Turner, just a tough matchup.
So we're probably supposed to play Miami guys. I'm probably supposed to play anybody against Indiana in general. I think it would be nice if Butler played for himself in this game. It'd be a fun game for him to play, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's in at 8,200, he could score 60 in this type of environment. Bam 9,500 seems expensive, but I don't know. Again, like anything else, you watch the Miami news and see what's up. But Indiana, I'm still going to monitor these bigs, and if Butler plays, I think I'm probably supposed to play him.
I don't really have any interest in I get it. Butler has gotten there all of one time this season. I think we've got to, sort of I'm just sort of trying to redirect my own thoughts about how I think about these things.
Okay.
Of course, it's a great matchup. But I think Bam at least gets there. You know what I mean? Like consistently. Butler's had 150 fantasy point game this season, and they've had no hero, remember, for most of the year. So I'm not quite as into the. I don't know what I just feel a little bit like he hasn't really found his game. Maybe after if he does play coming off the 2 games he missed, but the real question is if he misses or not. More of an argument why you skip the first game if you don't know certain things. But if Butler and Highsmith are out again, you're going to go right back to Jaquez, to Lowry, probably one of Caleb Martin and Josh Richardson. I think that those are going to be like core plays, as will Kevin Love. So we might have the same Miami stuff again tonight, and they should be able to keep it competitive even without Butler. Looking at the line, I don't think Butler is going to play. Just my raw guess. I could be totally wrong. It's not like the Heat are only favored by 2 at home. Indiana's probably they're pretty similar team-wise in terms of talent level, but usually Miami would be favored by I think 5.5 or 4.5 or 5 or something like that if they were full of strength. So just my first thought was maybe Butler doesn't play tonight. Anyway. We'll see what happens.
All right, so here's the Harlem Globetrotters game of the night, I think. Atlanta against San Antonio. I think the last time either of these guys played a possession of defense was the Eisenhower administration. So all these guys look good. I mean, okay, let's start. Zach Collins, Wembanyama, Jeremy Sohan, Capella, Trae Young, Sadiq Bey, Okongwu even, Bogdan Bogdanovic. I don't know what the over-under is. It's got to be 240. I think that's where you start on the slate is play a bunch of guys in this game.
Yeah, 247.5.
Wow.
That's a big one.
Yep.
And I can't dispute it. Makes sense. But, just one thing to keep in mind is that what's his name has been out for for Atlanta now. Jalen Johnson. Just want to keep everybody reminded that that is in fact a boost to Bogdanovic. I like the idea of the DeJounte revenge game here. I also think that Bogdanovic is in play, but I think DeJounte is going to be the lowest owned, and he really hasn't inspired exactly with his production. But this is a great matchup going against his former team. I could definitely talk myself into DeJounte here. I like the idea of one of Okongwu or Capella. I think you could really take your pick because you really are kind of guessing just based on how flow goes. The other night it was the Capella night. Well, actually, Capella was killing it in the first, and ended up at 32 fantasy points only because he only played 22 minutes. It did start to feel like for a while that Okongwu was taking over more of the minutes role, but it's sort of like evened out, and they're literally like splitting minutes. So it's just kind of weird, and both of them are going to be very hard to project and to track. I think I would give a slightly into Okongwu just to save the money, but Capella probably has the higher upside. So I think they're both interesting. I would rank Bogdanovic ahead of Sadiq Bey, but I think both are in play. And DeJounte Murray being my favorite piece from Atlanta. On San Antonio side, I like the Zach Collins. I like Wembanyama. I think he's going to be owned, though. We can usually get him at no ownership on big slates. Sohan makes sense. Keldon Johnson, that's probably the order I would have it in. But I think Vassell will be the overlooked one. So if you want to get into the stacking of this game, maybe include Vassell and DeJounte Murray in your stacks because those are the two that people are going to ignore the most. Just want to throw that out there. All right, what do you got next, Sheets? LA and
the Lakers got their revenge, whatever. They bounced back off their worst loss ever in fine style and just obliterated basically Detroit. Davis and D'Angelo Russell had like 60 fantasy points each at the half almost, it seems. They didn't have to play the fourth quarter. And now they have a back-to-back against Oklahoma City. I think that I'm not seeing too much as far as like projections go for this game. I mean, obviously Shea at 10-5 always has some kind of ceiling, but you could talk me into your man, the kid. Davis has been giving up like stuff, like the centers, and playing Chet at 7,900. I probably, I haven't really gotten on that train yet, but this might be a chance to do it. So I like him a little bit in this spot.
Yeah, I can see it. It's hard. Like I do like Wembanyama better, but he's a little more expensive. I think Chet's reasonable. Jalen Williams, Giddey, Jalen Williams and Giddey both seem too cheap to me. But like I understand that Giddey's whole situation is very. At any moment, we might just see Josh Giddey is suspended, and we just don't know what's going to happen with that.
Okay.
No, I mean, really, we have to be aware, though, just in case, because one night it could happen, after lock. There's no reason why it couldn't. It's really just a legal thing. More likely it would happen during the day, but just keep an eye out for that. On the Lakers side, you actually have no Q tags on LeBron and AD. That's probably going to change. They're probably going to both be questionable coming into this game. And the question is, do you think that one of them might sit? If you want a little narrative, Austin Reeves going back to Oklahoma.
That's true.
There's a little proof. And also a revenge for my $1 million last night, or my fourth place, my 75,000. So Austin Reeves is a guy I may consider using tonight. And I do think that Oklahoma thing is a real thing. I think he's in play anyway, but especially if we hear that LeBron or AD are questionable, we can certainly consider more Austin Reeves, even though he's a little bit pricier than you'd want to pay. Also, Christian Wood could end up getting some run if AD sat, but we'll have to figure that one out. Hopefully we'll know earlier in the day, not late. All right, Milwaukee, Chicago.
Nope. Giannis 11-2. Sure, I guess. But I got next game coming up is where I got most of all my other guys. So not really too much from the Milwaukee side, not too much Chicago either. I mean, Levine 7,400, I guess, is reasonable enough, but not so great.
Yeah, Lillard has been playing better. There's something you could consider Lillard. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's not what I'm going to do, but I don't think there's anything wrong with a low-owned Damian Lillard or a low-owned Giannis here. Doesn't seem. I mean, Bulls play slower. They are bad though, and all of these guys are like everybody looks okay to me, but I just prefer the other game, the Atlanta San Antonio game, and I don't really have anything that quite stands out enough other than, like you said, Levine in this type of matchup. We've seen Levine and DeRozan and Vooch all they take turns beating up on this Milwaukee team, and even when they get killed or whatever, they've all had monster games. Even Drummond's had some monster games against this in short minutes against Milwaukee. So if you wanted to stick with one of the Bulls, I would probably go with Levine, but I don't think there's anybody that's a must-play from this game by any means. Levine is probably the best play, assuming that he plays. And keep an eye on that, though, too, by the way. There's a lot of trade rumors out there with Levine and DeRozan and Caruso, and they're all three questionable today. So they're not going to be traded today, but just realize that teams may not be overexerting them. Anyway.
Yeah, so this is the other one with all the value now. I mean, with Anthony Edwards not going to play, all the it all goes everywhere. We'll start with Kyle Anderson at 2 cents. He's going to be the most popular player on the slate, I imagine. I currently have at 67% ownership projection. Anyway, he's 4,500, but the other guys, Cat, Naz Reid, Gobert, Nickeil Alexander-Walker off of a real dud game. You can play him. And then, if you want to run it back, we can go right back to I don't know, back to back. He's still recovering from an injury, but Kessler 6,100. He had a lot of competition for that spot last night, but did play 28 minutes. A little more each day, 21, 26, 28. Fantasy points 30, 32, 35. I don't know, maybe. But I think that's probably what you want to do, right? You want to play a couple of Minnesotas and find someone from Utah to run it back with, or no?
I don't know if I can find someone from Utah to run it back with. I don't think Kessler's going to play.
Well, then I'm not going to play him.
I'm just speculating because he's coming off of an injury. He's this very serious guy to have in their future.
Well, then let's go. Let's play John Collins then.
And then, that's not really that much fun either, unfortunately. I'm trying to find something. I think that the answer would be just basically you're at 7. If and look, I don't know. We'll see later in the day. It's not going to I'm not taking a huge line saying that Kessler is not going to play. I'm just saying that on a back-to-back, with travel in a game they're probably going to get smashed in even without Anthony Edwards. So I'm having a very hard time getting to anything on Utah. But if Kessler's out, obviously you're going to have some things. And I'm just speculating. Maybe they do play him, but if they do play him, maybe they only play him like 20 minutes. I still don't think it's enough for me to quite get to Yurt 7, although you do have the two bigs for Minnesota.
It would probably be Olenek, I think.
Yeah. You think Olenek would sit?
Oh, no, I think he would play.
He would show up as the play. Yeah, you're probably right. But again, they just have like a lot of bodies. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's a little tough with them in Indiana. That's why the Jalen Smith thing didn't stand out to me more. And maybe that'll change my mind on that by the end of the day. But right now it isn't. Yeah, everything is coming from Minnesota. You're going to get like literally like almost all the ownership here, basically. Kyle Anderson is going to be just crazy chalk. Naz Reid is going to be very popular coming off of a big game. Unfortunately, I switched off of him because I wish I didn't get that Philadelphia news that Embiid was out.
Me too. I wish I didn't get it either.
It didn't help, man.
You know what it did? It got me like to play freaking Tobias Harris is what it did. I mean, like.
Yeah.
And other guys that busted instead of me playing the guys I wanted to play. And it's like.
Yeah, cashing deep in the monster on FanDuel with Tobias Harris with 10 fantasy points was just like, okay, F you, Tobias. Yeah. Anyway, I think that if you're ranking in order, I do think Kyle Anderson feels like the most logical. Yeah. I would be very careful with the Nickeil Alexander-Walker and even a little bit to some extent Naz Reid, maybe over ownership, even though it makes sense to me why they're going to be popular. I think I would probably rather play, Cat, Gobert again, and Kyle Anderson. Alexander Walker, I'm just telling you, like this guy, we keep trying to make it happen, and he's a good real-life basketball player, but he is not a good fantasy producer, and we've been just like, I don't know how many lineups he's destroyed for everybody this year, but we keep talking about it. He had 6 fantasy points last night.
He sure did.
He's a 5x this price this year exactly 0 times. You know what I mean?
That's not a lot.
He's projected to score more fantasy points. And again, there's gifts to be out. But again, he projects every night to score more fantasy points than he has all season. And it's just, this is obviously a logical reason, but like, I don't know, man. It's just getting a little bit frustrating. Although, again, he's going to look like a great play. So I'm just going to try and keep my Minnesota guys down to 2 unless I really feel like I have to. Just because I think the ownership is going to be like kind of crazy. Even like Troy Brown is projecting to get some ownership now. So
Troy Brown's still in the league?
Isn't that wild? Like, yeah, I didn't even I haven't thought about him all year. And all of a sudden I looked and I was like, wait a minute, Troy Brown is projecting like this? He's ready to start. I mean, right now. And he's been playing minutes for them. So probably not the worst idea in the world to get a little bit of exposure there. At least he puts up some fantasy points, unlike Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
He just, he's supposed to every once in a while. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, he just hasn't done it though, right? I mean,
he hasn't, not once.
You think he would do it by accident? Like
he had 23 in a game this year. That happened. The other ones, that's it though. Like, you know what I mean? All year long. And you'd be surprised because every single night, Cheats, he's projected for over 20 fantasy points, and he's literally hit it like 2 times or 3 times this season.
It's like when Anthony Edwards gets projected for 37 fantasy points every day, and he scores 50 every day.
Right. All right, what do we have up next?
Just the Island game, the Clippers against Golden State. They're all on a back-to-back. I mean the Clippers. Mm-hmm. Kawhi had a really, really nice game, obviously.
Yeah, and Harden.
Yes, I didn't even know Harden did too.
I think he had 50 something also.
I think they're all gonna play. I just think that the Golden State game still has to mean something. You know what I mean? And they're not going. I mean, staying within California. I mean, I don't know. I think that. I think they're all gonna play, and I don't think I'm gonna play any of them. That's my quick take. Draymond could get up for this game, I suppose. 6,500, is that a good price though? I don't think so. I'm probably off of this game.
Yeah, just this is one of those where it wouldn't surprise me if they pulled the rug out from under us. The Clippers have only had one back-to-back this year, and both Kawhi and Paul George have played in every game this season, which is pretty awesome. But I feel like there's always that chance with the Clippers. So what does that mean to the normal man, I guess you would say?
Maybe there's
the average man, yeah. Maybe there's some value in playing James Harden again, just in case one of those guys is out. Maybe there's the thing is, DraftKings is not going to let it happen to them again. You know what I mean? They raised Westbrook's price $1,200 just in case. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pretty sharp with the DraftKings. I have to give them credit, man. You give credit where it's due. It's like these guys have been really on it with the pricing, which is why it's been so difficult to build lineups that make any sense. I kind of agree. There's nothing in this game naturally, but I wouldn't mind if you ended up stuck on Harden. I think it's not the worst idea because of the possibility. You never know of the Kawhi, Paul George, one of those guys resting. And even still, it doesn't make him like an auto play by any means. All right. So that's it. So what I have as my priorities is the Atlanta, San Antonio, and then Minnesota, obviously. But I think that I mentioned some ways I like to get different. I think you use Vassell and Murray to get different in your Atlanta, San Antonio stacks. And I think that with Minnesota, maybe having a little bit less of the Naz Reid and the Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and maybe a little bit more of the Towns and more of the Gobert at low ownership and more of the Kyle Anderson, even though Kyle Anderson is going to be the most popular. So it really is we're going to see how the ownership shakes out a little later, see some starting lineups and stuff like that. But we'll be around at 6, right, Sheets?
Yep.
All right. Well, good luck to everybody today, and we'll see you later at 6.